to episode 19. I'm Deanne. I'm an Aussie-based crochet designer, knitter and lover of all things yarn. Welcome to my podcast. Thanks for dropping by to see what I've been up to over the last few weeks. I do have a confession to make. I have been trying to record this podcast episode for 3 days. I know, 3 days. Terrible. I got halfway through a couple of days ago recording and the light was getting worse because it was late in the afternoon and yeah, it just wasn't working. And then I had everything set up and was ready to press the record button yesterday and got a phone call and we had to duck out and do some family things. So it didn't happen yesterday. So this is day number 3, attempt number 27 or something ridiculous. Maybe not 27, but yeah, I have tried a few times. So hopefully today will work. All right, so bear with me. If I repeat myself or suddenly think of something randomly inserted into the conversation, it's because I probably can't remember properly whether or not I've said it before, I didn't say it before, and don't want to forget. Anyway, so bear with me today. Thanks for dropping by. How have you all been? It is June the 15th today, so we're into winter now. So I can't help myself. There we go, straight into the weather. Your weather update today is foggy and reaching a maximum temperature of 14 degrees here in Canberra today. Okay, we've got that out of the way. It's winter in Canberra. I have a few things to show you. Yay! And because the recording got delayed a couple of days, I have an extra finished object. So I'm pretty excited about that because the first finished object I was going to show you, I don't have here anymore. I know, bumper. Epic podcasting fail from the get-go. I finished my Fiorella Dreams blanket for my friend Jade, who had her little girl a couple of weeks ago. I think it was recording on the day she was having her bubby. Yes, so she gave birth to baby Willow, and she's a beautiful little girl. So I crocheted my little hands off to get that finished. I don't know why I left it till the last minute. I mean, it's not like I didn't know she was having a baby. But yes, I got it finished, and as much as I wanted to keep it so that I could show you, I also wanted to give it to Jade. And yeah, it was well received. I was really happy with how it turned out, and I will insert a couple of photos here for you so you still get to see it, so I'll put them in here. So yeah, that was my Fiorella Dreams blanket. That's one of my designs actually. Had a lot of fun with that. It was nice doing it in some pretty girly colours. The pattern I did it, as you can see, with the flower motif, which is made as you go, because you also know I hate weaving in ends, so there's no way those things are getting stitched on afterwards, that's for sure. But the pattern also includes instructions for making, instead of the flower motif, you can make it look like little butterflies or love hearts. So yeah, bit of a bonus I threw in there just to change it up a bit. And if you want to make it for a boy, you can simply omit the little embellishments altogether and just do the nice chevron pattern. So there you go, there's my plug for my design. Had to get that in there. But yeah, very happy with that FO and getting it off to my friends. So that was really good. So the other thing that I got finished that I wouldn't have had finished had I successfully recorded the other day is my leftovers blur. Ta-da! I finished it just like half an hour ago. I am so happy with how this turned out with a bunch of leftovers. So as you know, I've mentioned it before, I had to modify quite a few sections to accommodate the shorter yardage. Like you can see this, I'll hold it a bit closer, how's that? This darker one here, I ran out. There's no solid section at all for that one, or for that dark one actually. because I just simply didn't have enough yarn, but I just introduced the next colour to follow. So it worked out really, really well, and it was easy to do. You can't really go wrong with this one. Change the colours when you like. As long as you do an increase round every 3 to 4 rows, which you can switch around however you like to, yeah, you can just use up bits and pieces you've got left over. And I didn't realise, it probably on my last one, it had the chocolate brown on the bottom, but it wasn't the edging. I was quite taken with how the edging appeared in this one. Perhaps it just wasn't as, I don't know, as pretty. I want to say it's pretty, but I just don't remember it having quite the same effect. I mean, this is single ply too, which might be making the difference, or simply the fact that it's a lighter yarn, a lighter coloured yarn, and you can just see the stitch definition in the edging row a little bit better. I don't know, but it looks really pretty, I think. I'm really happy with it. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, the this was Tosh Merino Light in the Dust Weaver colourway, and I used it, that's the colour I used at the beginning, so it sort of, you know, goes back to where it started, kind of, in relation to the colours anyway. Forgot how pretty it was. I don't know whether I just didn't notice it so much at the beginning, but it has so many different shades of colour. Oh, I'm afraid it's getting a bit overexposed so you can't see them, but there's pinks and browns and almost like a coral colour that comes up every now and again. It was just so pretty to work with. I really, really enjoyed it, and I just love single ply, so it was delightful. So yeah, haven't woven the ends in, obviously, and I almost lost yardage chicken a couple of times with this one. This wrong end D. That was where the yarn ended for that pinkish colour there. So I was, am I the only one that crochets faster when they think they're going to run out of yarn? Must get to the end. So I was very happy to make it to the end of that row. My improv was going to be going down a hook size for that row to stretch it that little bit further. If I was only going to be, you know, this far short, I would have taken it back and just used a smaller hook just for that one row. Can't always do that to get around running out of yarn, but for this design I don't think it would have mattered or been noticeable. But anyway, didn't have to do it, which I was pretty happy about. So yeah, so there you go. Another finished object, yet to be blocked. So yeah, I'm pretty, actually, considering that I haven't even blocked that, that's draping really, really nicely. Be nice once it's blocked. Can't wait to see that. All right, I'll get onto that and maybe show you next time. My other FO, I've got FOs everywhere, wow, is, well, it's sort of, you've sort of seen this before, sort of. Anyway, it was a hoe last time I showed you. So remember this? There are now 2. This design, as you know, this is my, my unicorn, remember? It's, here are my lip gloss. It's not that the pattern took that long to make, like actually physically making it, the mitt, didn't take that long. It was just that for this design, because I was writing it up, I wanted to have the instructions written and actually typed into a document properly, and then follow my own instructions to make the second one. And that's the bit that took time, because, you know, I've been a little bit, this design has been a little bit tricky. I just wanted to make sure that it was clear, because the increases are a little unusual. They're not difficult to actually work if I was to able to sit down and go, yes, you stick your hook in here, and you know, but writing instructions so that they're understood clearly is another thing. And with my camera out for repair, dropped it off yesterday, and it's got to be sent away to be repaired under warranty, thank goodness. But yeah, still don't know what is the problem, but anyway, it's being repaired. With my good camera out of action, I haven't been able to take step-by-step tutorial photos, which ideally I would like to do. I am thinking about seeing what kind of photos I can get on my iPad, whether or not they'll be good enough, and I can update them later, I suppose. I'm still working that out. I may release the pattern without the tutorial photos, but I'm waiting on some more feedback from testers to see what they think of just the written instructions on their own before I decide whether or not I'll release them without photos. So anyway, that's probably a lot of waffle to say that yay, I got these done and I got the pattern written up, because like I said, it's being tested as we speak. And yeah, so hopefully one way or the other, I hope to have this design ready for you guys to have a go. I am really happy with the design. Excuse the ends in this one again. Look, I should feature this one. That's what it'll look like. Yeah, it's fun and they're very snug. A lot like, well, you know, I was inspired by knitted brioche. That's what inspired this design. And a lot like the knitted brioche, it creates a double layer fabric. I've never actually done brioche knitting myself, but from what people have described the fabric it creates, it does create a thicker than your standard knitted fabric. And yeah, and this does too, so perfect for mitts to keep your fingers warm. So yeah, I'm really happy. Hopefully won't keep you waiting too much longer for that design. So a third FO, oh my goodness, even though I only had to do one, but you know, it still counts. So that leads me on to, well, another FO, which I don't think I ever showed you in detail. I know I had it hanging on the mannequin at one point, but I don't think I ever talked about it. When I was doing these and, you know, knitted brioche still is everywhere, and it's, yeah, no wonder why, it's so beautiful. As you know, I'm a big fan of the effect. I came up with this cowl design, which gives a similar effect. So you've got your two yarns and they're worked over top of each other for a knitted brioche effect. I don't even know, do you call this effect in crochet brioche? I don't really know. I mean, I've called these mitts the brioche mitts, which is kind of a play on the word. But I don't know if there is technically, I don't know, a crochet, is it called crochet brioche when you do it like this? I don't know, because I made it up. I'm not saying that I'm the inventor of it, but I didn't use a Stitch dictionary as a reference when I did this. That's not to say that it hasn't appeared somewhere, so I don't know. Anyway, we'll call it crochet brioche for the purpose of the podcast. So yeah, anyway. Oh, I am rambling a little. I apologise. So this is a cowl, and then on the inside you get the horizontal stripe, so you see the vertical on the outside. That's the difference between crochet and knitted brioche, is that the inside goes the other way. So yeah, I really like that. So I suppose theoretically it's reversible. Yeah. Actually looks really good. Oh, I'm so pleased with myself. Sorry. I'm just pleased with how that looks on camera even. Wow, there you go. Okay, my reversible crochet brioche cowl. That's that one. And after making my glove again recently, got all inspired by crochet brioche, that I started another cowl. Sorry, my yarn got caught in the cushion. Look at that. Let me see the better side. There we go. Oh, so pretty. This is made using Dingo Dyeworks yarn in the, this is Dirren Bandy, which Isn't that pretty? It's got speckles, lots of colours in there. See if I can get it closer. There you go. Is that better? Beautiful colourway. And I'm pretty sure that this one is called Narrabri, I think. Anyway, it was a colour from a while ago. Got it, I think I got it last year. Anyway, it's like a grey, but it's got speckles and little pops of all different colours in it too. And I thought they coordinated quite well together. So yeah, I started this one. So this will be, I'm going to write this up as well. This will be a little easier than the gloves because there's no shaping involved in this one. So it's just worked straight and gives you that gorgeous brioche effect, and also a lovely thicker fabric. I don't know, can you really see how thick it is? I don't know. Anyway, it is thicker and lovely and squishy, and you also get the cool reverse side with the stripes horizontal. So yeah, I'm really happy with that, and this is so soft. This one I did using up some leftovers, actually quite chunky. This one's made, the grey's 8 ply, and I think the multicolour, I think that was even listed as 14 ply, which is like bulk, almost bulky, at the very least Aran weight. Yarn I got from Spotlight, which is like a big craft store chain here in Australia. I really just wanted to see what it would look like when you had a yarn that changed colour. It wasn't self-striping, but it wasn't, it was sort of gradient-ish. It changed colour, not super quick, but not really, really slowly. So you can see it still looks sort of, it has a striped effect. Anyway, it looks like you've used a lot of different colours without having to weave in a lot of different ends. That was the effect I was going for. And despite the fact that they are 2 different yarn weights, it worked up really, really well together. Gave it a bit of, you can see the coloured one looks a bit chunkier. I don't know. Can you see that? But I think it gives a nice texture to it. So who would have thought? Simply because I didn't know how it was going to work up, just wanted to use bits and pieces left over. But yeah, this is using sock yarn, well, sock weight, fingering weight yarn. So it's a lot finer, but still beautiful, and that nice chunky fabric to keep you warm. So I'm thinking of doing this version and a couple of shaped versions. Sorry, I'm sure I've got hair stuck in my lip gloss. A shaped version, sort of like a bandana shape. So still a cowl, so it'll still be joined, but I'm going to do it so that it's shaped down the front of the body like a bandana without you having to tie anything. So I know I wear my shawls, my triangular shaped shawls, a lot like a bandana with the triangle point at the front and then flip the ends over. But this, it won't have any ends because it'll start off exactly like this, and then I'm going to work some shaping to it. That's the plan. So yeah, I'm going to have a couple of versions of this because I really enjoy working it. It's, I don't know, a little addictive. I'm having a bit of a thing for crochet brioche, and so you know, you post stitches that do that. And what was the other thing? I was thinking the other day, I'm a little bit addicted to, I can't remember what the other thing was. What a ditz I am. Obviously I'm addicted to it. I can't remember what it was. I'll think of it later. Just excuse my blonde moment. But one of my addictions at the moment is definitely the effect that this gives. So yeah, stay tuned for that one. Again, we'll be waiting on my camera to take some decent photos, possibly. Depends on how creative and skilled I can get with my iPad camera. I mean, they're not designed for it, are they? Not once you've used a SLR camera. The iPad just doesn't compare, really, does it? But anyway, we shall soldier on regardless and see what we can do. So yeah, how cool is that? So that's, oh no, I have another whip to show you. Sorry, I had to find a lens there, didn't know where I was looking. I have one more, and this is another baby thing. Remember I said my planned planned projects, I do knit, that's okay, was a little baby vest. I started it. Huh, isn't it cute? It's been a long time since I've made little tiny clothes. My friend Jade had her little baby Willow. My other friend Susie had her baby Georgia. So I have a blanket for Georgia as well, that I made a long time ago, and I thought I'd make them both little vests as well. So I excuse me one moment, I'm back. I was showing you my little vest. Yes, my other friend Susie, I had to forget who I was talking about, had her little girl Georgia. I said that, didn't I? See, can't remember. Anyway, making them both a little scooter vest each. So this is another one of my designs, and this is made using Bendigo Woolen Mills sock yarn, which changes colour. So as you can see, you wouldn't call it self-striping, because on a sock it would have even wider colour changes, but it's beautiful and gradual. Like you can see, it's very gentle colour changes there, perfect for crochet. Yeah, so that's the first one. I haven't started the second one yet, so I better get onto that. I'm making a size that, you know, newborn's going to be too small for that, so they can grow into that. So yeah, that's my other whip. So that's it as far as projects go at the moment. I have, while we're talking about projects, the Blur Cowl, which is still going and will be going until the 30th of June, so end of this month, is cracking along. There are some spectacular shawls being created. So if you haven't popped over to my Ravelry group to have a look, please go and do that. The colour combos that people have come up with are so amazing. I just love seeing all of them. And I had a bit of just a little random giveaway a few days ago, and I'm planning a few more rolling out over the next couple of weeks because we're getting towards the end of the cowl, and gave away a set of these. Oh, the light's reflecting on them everywhere. Aren't they cute? Little progress keepers from Three Mums Yarn that I got at the Bus Depot Markets last month. Yeah, it was last month. So Yale from, now where's Yale from? I don't know. Her Ravelry, is it her Ravelry name or her Instagram name? I can't remember. Is handmade by Yale. Yale won the stitch markers, so congratulations Yale. Haven't heard from you yet, sweetie, so let me know your address so I can get these in the mail to you. And like I said, I'll be having a few other little bits and bobs to give away over the next couple of weeks too. And then of course there is the yarn and project bag as the main prize at the end of the cowl. So still plenty of time. If you haven't joined in yet, come and join in. I will actually be making another blur. I know, yeah, maybe that is my other addiction, was just my blurs that I'm addicted to. I'm making another one. So I'll be making it with you because I need to finish it by the end of the month as well. This one I don't get to keep. It's as a sample for Angela of One Tree Hill Alpacas. It's to go, yeah, as a sample to go with her yarns to show how they're worked up. And yeah, so that'll be fun because I get to make it in gorgeous, wonderful 100% alpaca. Colours chosen by Angela, which, okay, I'll show you now. I've got the colours here. So I can't take credit for the colour choices. Angela picked these. So here we have the first colour, which is Milk and Cereal. So I've talked about One Tree Hill alpacas a lot. I love their yarn. It's just beautiful. In fact, one thing I will mention, I was watching Emma from the Potter and Bloom podcast. Love watching Emma. She cracks me up. And she had made, her, I think she calls it her Mayan Squares vest. And apparently it was out of alpaca. I don't know what brand, so I'm not being critical. But she did mention after she wore it, it was a bit scratchy where it touched her skin, and she was saying she probably wouldn't use alpaca to make a garment, at least not a garment that would be worn close to your skin. I have to say, I have not found that to be the case with the Aussie alpaca I've used, either from Angela or from Addydae Mills, who do 100% alpaca. And I messaged Emma when I watched the podcast where she said that, and I said, oh, you know what, I was disappointed for her, and said I hadn't found that to be the case with the alpaca I'd used. You know, maybe it's something different to do with the Aussie alpacas. Like I said, I couldn't remember the name of the yarn she used, so I don't know where it came from. And she made a joke and said, oh, maybe it's all that sunshine you get down here in Australia. It makes happy alpacas or softer yarn or something like that. She said it was quite funny. So I don't know, but this stuff is, you could wear this next to your skin. It's deliciously soft. So I don't know, just saying, this stuff's good. So if you have had alpaca yarn in the past, and don't let that put you off trying this stuff. Because actually, now that I think of it, see, now I don't know if I should mention the brand. No, I won't. I've used alpaca blends before. No, I think it was 100% alpaca actually, from other companies. I won't mention the name, but it was not as soft as this, because I remember thinking I had already used this and Nadine's from Addydae Mills, and I thought, ooh, it's not quite as soft. So not all alpaca is the same. So there you go. Okay, back to the colours. This one is called Milk and Cereal. Did I say that before? Can't remember. Milk and Cereal. So there's some really cute speckles and pops of colour in there. The next colour is, I should just remember these, Berrima Bricks. Oh, sorry, I almost threw that at you. Which is a lovely sort of, it's sort of like a pinky rust. Isn't that a brick company? Berrima Bricks? Probably. I don't remember, I don't know. Anyway, sort of rang bells, but then didn't. This one is called Rusty Cars, which is such a cool name for that one. And then the next colour, spicy pumpkin soup is this one. That's gorgeous oranges. Oranges are not really my colour. I love watermelon, so it's got to be a bit more on the pinky side, but this is beautiful. Look at that, it's even got some speckles in it too. And then the last colour is Salsa. How cool are they? So, let's see if I can hold them up. This will be your colour progression. How nice do all of those look together? So, like I said, I can't take credit for the colour choices. These were Angela's because she wants to be able to wear it afterwards. But I will share a tip that I may or may not have mentioned on an earlier podcast. Because when Angela had these colours, I think she had a couple of others in it as well. Because, you know, Sunday was so long ago when I picked these up from Angela, I can't remember. Okay, another blonde moment. She did have at least one extra colour. Anyway, the way we decided on the colours for sure was using a tip that I saw on the Dingo Dialects podcast. Peter was saying, with the blur shawl, okay, the one I've just made isn't the best example because, as you know, I've used smaller amounts of yarn. But in any shawl, pretty much the bottom section is the bit that you're going to see the most. Because let's face it, you know, you put it on like this. This section is the section that is going to be the most dominant and most visible. Colours that you use up the top, especially if you're only using a small amount, could even be hidden away completely. So the tip that Peter had for making, well, not just the blur shawl, but any shawl really, was to pick your favourite colours. What colour do you want to be the most dominant and the most visible of your shawl? And for Angela, she said, oh, definitely these. She really wanted the oranges. So they're her jam, obviously. And so we worked from the bottom up. So blur's a top-down shawl. So I will be starting with this colour. But yeah, I thought that was a great tip. Yeah, so any shawl design, or if you're not sure about which order to put colours in, look at the samples made, pattern photos, see which section of the shawl is the most dominant and let that be your favourite colour, and then place the other colours around that. I thought it was a good tip anyway, given that that's going to be, you know, the most visible part. So yeah, great tip, I thought. And that's how we decided on the order. So if you wanted more neutrals, you know, you could put the more neutral colours at the bottom, and they would be the most visible. So there you go. I thought that was a handy tip, so I thought I'd share it with you. So yeah, beautiful, soft, squishy alpaca I get to play with over the next 2 weeks. So you'll see progress shots of that in the Addydae Designs group, Blur, Cowl, Chatter Thread. What a mouthful that is. But yeah, don't just pop in to see that. Have a look at some of the other amazing stuff there. Beautiful. So the only other thing I want to give you an update on something else I talked about a while ago. Do you remember me telling you about these little things? Big things. Anyway, the felted wool dryer balls that I made. Got to say, I love them, use them a lot. I just wanted to let you know, in case anyone was thinking of making them. The only thing I have discovered with them that I wasn't aware of and you may not be aware of, you can see how fuzzy they are. When combined with some clothes in the dryer, they do tend to transfer a bit of fuzz. Just letting you know, in case you go to all the trouble to make them and then don't like that when that happens. They're fine with 95% of the things I've chucked in the wash. I think it was just a couple of my husband's shirts he noticed when he was ironing them. There was little pieces of orange fuzz on a couple of his shirts, which, you know, is not a good look when it's a nice crisp white business shirt that he's ironing. He does iron. I'm not making that up. I thank his mother every day that he irons one of his own shirts. Because apparently the story goes that Darren had so many shirts that his mum went, that's it, I'm not ironing them all. If you want shirts, you iron them yourself. So we went, okay, and he learnt to iron. It's great. I mean, that doesn't mean I never have to. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? But yes, Darren does iron his own shirts. There you go, he's a keeper. So, just, I don't want to say a warning, just a heads up that can happen. But, like I said, 95% of things I chuck in the dryer with these, no problem at all. They're great. So there you go. Playing, juggling, I can't juggle. I'll put it down. That is about all I have for you today. I'm just going to check my notes. I have notes just below the camera here, or my iPad. Oh, that was my light dying. Just checking. Yeah, that's all I have for you. I hope you're well. I hope you've been enjoying your crafting time wherever you are in the world. Please leave a comment down below if you'd like. I love reading what you think and where you're from, and hearing about what you're up to and how you're finding the content and new designs and whatever else I happen to show. So love to hear from you. In the meantime, I'll let you go. Oh, one more thing. I will hopefully record one more time before we go to Bendigo. Bendigo is a town in Victoria, but it is the location of the Australian Wool and Sheep Show, which is held every year. I'm going again this year. It was my first visit last year and we decided to go again, so we're all booked in and ready to go. I'm hoping to record once more before we go to Bendigo, so that's the plan. And then the one after that, we'll have some details about Bendigo and hopefully some footage, because I was hopeless last year. I hardly took any photos. I think I was just so like, oh, look, and oh, look. And I don't know, I was a little bit starstruck. That sounds stupid. But anyway, look, if any of you, pretty much everyone watching here is probably going to feel the same about a big yarn festival like that, so I think I'm in pretty safe company. But yeah, I'm hoping to take a bit more footage for you this year, not to the point of boredom, I hope, but I actually got, now don't laugh too loudly, I bought a selfie stick yesterday. Not to take selfies, but I thought it could be handy just having the height, and also if I do happen to record myself talking like I do here. Anyway, I haven't even had a chance to play with it. It quite literally just came out of the box this morning and it's on charge, so that could be interesting. I could just make a complete fool of myself with the thing. Yeah, look, I'm not a big selfie taking person. Mind you, that sounds contradictory if you've ever looked at my Instagram feed. I do take selfies, obviously, so that you can see shawls and stuff that I'm wearing and things like that. I usually try and omit my face because I don't think I do the selfie thing very well. Maybe I just need to practice more. No. The reason I find that so amusing is we were at, where were we? This is totally off topic and random, but we were at Floriade, which is the annual flower show that is held every year in Canberra, and we try and go. It's free entry, it's beautiful, the gardens look lovely, and our girls absolutely love riding on the Ferris wheel, so that's a thing we do. And a couple of years ago we were standing in the queue waiting, as you do, to get on, and there was a woman waiting not too far in front of us, and I kid you not, in the 15 minutes we were standing there, she must have taken 150 photos of herself in every conceivable selfie pose you could imagine. So I can't even believe I own one, because every time I think of someone using a selfie stick, I think of that. We were just standing there giggling like, how many photos can you take of yourself in the one location? And I'm not even going to do some of the poses she was doing, but it was really hard not to laugh out loud. It was just, it was hilarious. So yeah, the idea of me having a selfie stick and even, yeah, I'm not going to do that. But I will have a play and see what footage I can get. I'm going to go now because I'm starting to giggle at myself and probably sounding a little ridiculous. So thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you're well and having fun with crafting and whatever you're enjoying. Take care, everybody, and I will see you